All right, Nick, today we're going to do something a little bit interesting, something we haven't done before. I think it's going to be a real delight for all of the fans out there, especially the ones who love the trenches. We're going to use your superior intellect of the offensive line position and do a little film study. Today, we're going to focus on the Chicago Bears and rookie right tackle Darnell Wright. I think he made a lot of great plays this preseason in their first preseason outing. I think there's a lot to look forward to. So, Bears fans, and fans of football in general, just stick around and get ready to see what is going on with Darnell Wright and the Chicago Bears.
All right, so we're going to open up in the Chicago Bears here. You see them in a standard I formation, two tight ends. You got the one guy coming in motion there. And what you're going to see here is a standard power concept. And that means you're going to see the right tackle. Of course, this is rookie Darnell Wright, who we're focusing on today. The right guard and the center all working back, including with the tight end. And the focus here is going to be on Wright on this double team block and what we call a 4-eye technique. That means this defensive end here is lined up as a 4 slightly inside. We call that a 4-eye. Sometimes you'll hear a 5 technique being called. That would be if he was lined up just on Darnell Wright's outside shoulder. But in a power concept, you've got the fullback kicking out the in man on the line of scrimmage, and the backside guard, the left guard here, he's pulling around. He's going to be the lead guy in there, trying to get any linebacker, any fill guy in that gap. But this play is designed to go essentially right where Darnell Wright currently is, right in the B gap. And as we snap it right here, you can see the running back. You can see Herbert's track right there. He's running right up where Wright is currently. We need movement there from Darnell Wright, from this young offensive tackle, and he delivers. Look at that. Look at that displacement right there. I'm going to back that up a little bit so everyone can see at the start of the snap. You can see that 4-eye technique. He's about 2 yards to the right of the hash, about 2 yards from the nearest 5 denominator. At the end of this block here, Darnell Wright, look at where he ends up. Bang, look at that. He's buried inside. He's crashed all the way down about 2 yards over. That is massive gap displacement, 2 yards back as well. That is exactly what you need. Look, there's some other finer points to maybe clean up here from Darnell Wright, but for a guy that played in a spread kind of offense at Tennessee in college, this would be the concern. Does he have the ability to get his feet in his ground and move grown men back like that? That is awesome. That gets it done. There are other guys that had issues here. If you look at the scheme in general, how this play worked out, only a short gain of 2 yards. I think the second tight end over to the right, it looked like there was a miscommunication there. I think he probably should have worked out. The fullback should have kicked out that guy. Guard didn't have much of a chance because of that garbage. But you look at this right tackle right here with Cole Kmet giving some help on the double team. That's how you get it done. That's winning football right there from Darnell Wright.
Yeah, Nick, I think one really important thing here is that we focus on just the great job that Darnell Wright was doing, because easy to look at this play, especially from my perspective, and look at that as a failed play, as something that really didn't gain a lot of yardage. But the way that you broke it down, I can totally tell that Wright, he is doing exactly what he had to do. And if everyone else could have gotten that communication right, this could have been a huge gain for the Bears.
All right, so next up for Darnell Wright, this is really awesome play. This is an athletic guy. Look, like I talked about before, he was spread offense at Tennessee. You got to be able to move in the NFL. That was one question for Darnell Wright. He had the size, had the experience. Can he move? Look at this pulling action right out of his stance. Look, there's some technical things. I don't want to focus on that too much. Footwork, things like that. The most important thing, can this guy get out here and get running? And here's what I love about this. You've got Herbert on the edge. He's in a good spot right there. There is one guy, though, that can make this play. Let me back up a little bit right here. One guy, you see him right out of the corner right there. That guy, that DB that Darnell Wright saw at the last second is turning against. This is the guy, the DB, not the linebacker. That guy has the speed to potentially get Herbert down. Right there, you see him cut just inside that wide receiver, turn inside to the linebacker. Right now, it's a race between that DB to the right of the receiver blocking right there and Darnell Wright. He has the angle. He has a chance to stop this play from being successful. That's an athletic mismatch, or at least it should be. Darnell Wright, offensive tackle against DB. Love this. Quick turn, gets a pop on him, doesn't hold him. All he needs. Even gets a little pop on the linebacker there. That wasn't really necessary. He already had that linebacker out leveraged. The running back did. That's a great job by Darnell Wright out in space. That is a lot harder than people think, because this is a dead sprint right here. And then right at your mark, because everyone has marks, your coach said marks, you're turning upfield. This is an immediate reaction. And turns around, gets a piece of it. That's a lot harder than you think. A lot of people will miss that block, or they'll hold and draw the penalty. Wright does just enough, gets a piece on them, allows Herbert to get the outside. It's a successful play.
Yeah, Nick, I think one thing we can focus on is just how fast this guy's moving. You got to tell me, for an offensive lineman to get out there and be able to make a play like this just shows he's got some elite level quickness, doesn't it?
Well, it's not just the quickness. I love the self-awareness too. Because if you look at this wide defensive end right here, look how wide he is. Look at that, right? Just inside Mooney there at the slot. Wright has to pull and make sure he has to get wide enough. And by wide, I mean deep enough into the backfield, right? So that way this defensive end doesn't hit him off his track. Because if you look at this defensive end at the snap, he steps upfield a little bit. You see how Wright actually had to get some depth there? That's hard to do and also maintain good speed. You also have to get the spacing right as well. Look at that again. So if you're going to see at the beginning, look at Wright's first couple steps here. Gets depth. He gets that depth out of his stance. Think about that for a second. This is a 300 plus pound dude that was in his 2-point stance and very quickly and athletically got depth and speed running to the sideline and then finished it up by turning upfield. That's a really hard block to make. There's not a lot of guys that can make that. And for Darnell Wright to do it right out of the gate is a really great sign for the Chicago Bears. All right, so right here, you got a pretty heavy formation. You got 3 tight ends, 1 running back right there. You look at this is going to be just a dive play to the left. Wright is on the sort of backside. Look, there could be some cutback action there. His main job in this situation, again, I don't know the Bears playbook, but if you look at how everyone else is structured, his main job is to just cut off that defensive end, keep him away from the play. Not the best job here by Wright. You can see right there, he's a little unsure of himself in space. There's a lot of ground to cover, working his way up to that defensive end. He misses a little bit, gets a little handsy there, but I like the fight and the energy. But the real strength of this play, and I want to highlight this, is this left guard double team right there. You can see this. I'm going to rewind this. This is a big block here because you can see at this snap. You see the left guard and center double team, the defensive tackle. You see the left tackle tight end double team there. This is a classic example. Left tackle goes left guard goes right. Linebacker sees that hole. He's going to fill. That means this left guard's got to come off and time it great. And he does. Look at this. Bang. Perfect job. But that's not just enough, right? That's a good block. But here's what I love about this. Look at this motor finish. Put him on the dirt. That is elite level offensive line play. That is breaking somebody's will. I love guys timing it that well and just finish a guy off into the ground. That is setting the tone. That is winning football at the offensive line right there. I'm going to pull it up again because that's how good this was here. Let's see if we can get this up. Look at this right here because this is a good double team, right? He helps the center out. Good block, good movement. Bang, right off of him. Keeps driving, keep feet moving. That's a great job by the left guard.
Yeah, Nick. And just that left guard, the way you drive someone into the ground like that, you finish the play all the way through, that's going to have implications for later on in the game, don't you think?
Oh, for sure, especially over the course of a game. It really wears defensive linemen and linebackers down. And it also gets them a little wary of contact. They start trying to run around blocks. They try and play faster instead of more physical. And there are a lot of times these linebackers, and we'll show you in a couple minutes here on one of these other plays, that these linebackers, they have to fight through blocks. Because if they try and run around guys and they try and just play fast and loose and avoid the contact, they'll put themselves in bad situations. So being and winning this physical battle here really matters. That's a great job at the left guard. I'm going to play that one more time because it's just beautiful. Look at this. This is teach tape kind of stuff for any young guys out there. Help come off, motor, finish, drive, bury you into the dirt. That's a great job. All right, so here we go. We've got a situation, kind of a learning opportunity for Darnell Wright here. But look, I'm going to be honest. These are situations here. It happens in the game, especially up front. The defensive line, the front seven, they get you in a good situation where they call a good strategy against the play you're calling, and sometimes you just get beat. And this is an example of that. So the Bears are running a zone to the right, zone run to the right. And you can see here by zone, you can see the right tackle, the right guard, the center, left guard. Everyone is taking one step to the right and working up the field. You can see that right, everyone one step up the field. But you'll notice what happened here, Miles, if I back this up a little bit here. You see this defensive end, right? He's already starting out here wide. Darnell Wright, again, zone scheme. He is responsible for his zone, his gap to that direction to the right. So he's looking at defensive end thinking, I've got him unless he flies inside. The right guard is making sure that defensive tackle doesn't fly across his face. Otherwise, he's taking one step and looking upfield to anyone filling the gap. The problem is here, the guy who fills that gap is that defensive end. You see him cut inside right there. That right guard, that's a tough situation. That's brutally tough. That is incredibly hard. But if he can see that and pick that up, this has a chance to be a good play. The one thing Darnell Wright has to do here, right? He steps out, his guy goes away. This is hard to get up the field. Get north and south. Get your head up looking up the field. You're going to have this linebacker flowing. You're going to have the safety filling. You're going to have a chance because that guy's taken care of. You have tight end help. Get up the field. You've got a chance here because if this guy, if 69 would have picked up that defensive end, slanting inside right there, if Darnell Wright, you work up north and south here when that guy flies inside, you've got that linebacker. This has a chance to be a big play. But that would have been a really tough deal here. This is one of those situations where it's just the defense wins. They got a good play call and they win the day.
Yeah, Nick, but it seems like that zone blocking scheme is something that's pretty complex to put together really early on. This is just the first preseason game. Do you think that, throughout the season, that cohesion, the offensive line cohesion, is going to help out and clean up any mistakes like this?
Oh, for sure. But another thing to remember, right, is that a lot of times, and you don't get this in the preseason, is that teams, if you're playing a team that plays like the Titans do in this situation, like this is all tendency based. So if you line up in this formation, the Titans will counter that. Like, so for example, here you can see that you're right now you're on the left hash. If you're running zone into the field, right, boundary is to the left, field is to the right in this case. Let's say the Titans have a tendency to run this kind of stunt. You just wouldn't call that play, right? You'd sit there and say, all right, we know the Titans, that's part of the game plan process. You say, we're not going to call that play because we know the Titans are going to beat us in that situation. You're not going to get in that in the preseason. You're just kind of lining up and playing football. You're not doing a lot of game planning. So this is one of those situations where I agree with you. Cohesion, communication will help with that. More reps will help too. But I also think a lot of these things like this, where the defense just gets you in a bad situation, a lot of that stuff will be removed by game planning. All right, so this is the last play in the sequence here. This is, of course, the touchdown on that long screen of Herbert that Bears fans, if you watch a preseason game, will remember. But I want to focus on the rookie, Darnell Wright, because this is a really savvy play here. And look, I want to back up to the very beginning here real quick. So in this situation, if you are the tackle pass blocking in a screen and you're not going out for the screen, you have one responsibility to make sure the guy you're blocking, that defensive end in this case, opposite of Darnell Wright, does not get involved in the screen game, doesn't blow up the screen, doesn't get to the running back. You want to basically run him up the field, run him outside. If he ends up beating you a little bit, that's okay, as long as he doesn't beat you too fast. You just want to make sure he doesn't blow up the screen game. And I want to show you what Darnell Wright does here, because real savvy move from the young kid. Again, young rookie out of Tennessee. Again, watch this right at the get-go. Good pass set at the snap, makes the defensive end thinks it's a standard pass play. Good pass set, good pass set. Look, everything's squared up. Looks like a potential normal pass play, but let me back up a little bit more here and show you everything. But you'll notice at the last second what he does. He drops that right foot, his back foot, invites the defensive end upfield. Look at that. Look at that action right there. Back it up one more time. This is really, really good stuff right here. This is smart, savvy stuff, setting up the screen, invites him upfield. That defensive end is taking that hit because he says, oh, he gave me that, I'm going to take it. That's exactly what Darnell Wright wanted him to do. That's a great job there. Great execution, great situational awareness, really savvy move from a young guy. That's awesome stuff. But I want to focus on one element here. We talked about this earlier, Miles, about punishing linebackers and burying people on the ground and making them change their attitudes. You got a linebacker here in this situation, that backside DB here, he's blitzing. That linebacker's got the running back on the screen. He's flying all over the place. He's discombobulated. Look at him. He totally whiffs. He wants no part of any contact. This is a guy here who's hesitant. I would not be surprised at all if he's checking to make sure an offensive lineman isn't about to blindside him and bury him into the dirt again. Again, he pulls on corner, just kind of slips, falls, whiffs. He's not there anymore. He's on the ground. Ends up being a touchdown. This is what happens when you set the tone early and you bury these linebackers into the dirt like 76 did a few plays ago. This guy right here suddenly has to play his game differently. Instead of being more calm, instead of being more methodical, he's flying around like a loose cannon. He has no idea where he's going. He's just trying to avoid getting his clock cleaned. And the result is he ends up on the ground. It's an open field to the end zone, and it's a long Bears touchdown. When you see a screenplay like this happen on Sundays or in preseason games, things like this, obviously the running back had to do a good job, navigating downfield. Fields obviously got rid of it and hit him in time and all that kind of good stuff. But it's the plays earlier, punishing these linebackers in the running game. And look, that was only like a 2-yard run, Miles, if you remember that. It was not a long run. But those punishing plays early in drives and early in games, they can open up the door for big plays later.